Hi, I'm Verene, a curious explorer of the intricate landscape of the human mind and behaviors, and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where I unravel the mysteries behind the incongruous thoughts that pepper our everyday existence. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ink Thoughts podcast. Today I have one of my closest friends, Han Yen, here with me. And I did mention about it, we're going to talk about solo traveling in one of the upcoming episode very soon, and which is today. So before we go into the topic itself, let me ask Han Yen to introduce herself first.
Okay, so I think pretty much she made a very good intro. I'm her best friend, one of the closest best friend. So I think nothing much really about me. I'm just a ordinary girl who are still exploring my life in my mid-20s right now. So yeah.
Would you like to tell tell the audience a bit about what you do?
Okay, so I'm from a mass comm and PR background. So like basically communications or like marketing kind of industry. So right now I'm in a very unique industry where I believe maybe some of you guys heard about crypto, where Bitcoin and Ethereum. So yeah, I'm currently working in this industry where I'm still working closely in the marketing industry, but more of the sales and BD side. So I would say when I graduated as a PR and marketing background, right, I feel like the industry is very competitive. Everyone literally has a degree, and you can do anything with the degree that you're holding. So I feel like at the early 20s, I wanted to explore more ventures. So that's why that made me to, try to get into this niche industry where it's still new. Maybe not many early adopter just yet. So I just wanted to see like how far it could go and how I can also contribute in this, in the Malaysian landscape particularly. Yeah, of course I'm from Malaysia. Yeah.
I should really learn from Han Yen about all this, financial part, investment thing, and
Not
even
really. I feel
crypto.
like I'm
I,
still a newbie
I
into it because we're not really from the background, right? Yeah, you're from psychology, I'm from marketing.
yeah,
This is totally new for us. But financial literacy, I feel like it's not just about the education, like your
mhm,
uni life or what. It's something that we should really pick up ourselves. Yeah. So
yeah. I do notice, like, especially after living alone and abroad, um, I do really notice the importance of like managing your own finances and stuff, and
right.
how to make sure that everything is sustainable in the longer
Yeah.
term. Yeah.
Relatable. Yeah. I also
Mm.
felt that like super like very heavily since last year I decided to move out of my house. So I started to realize like, a lot of things you have to pay by yourself, you have to pay the debt, you have to pay your credit cards, you have to plan for your future as well. So yeah, that's why I started to get into this financial industry more seriously.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even before we go into the topic itself, I guess this is one of the key takeaway that everyone should be thinking about.
Hopefully.
All right, so now, we have actually been talking about wanting to record an episode around this topic for the longest time ever, but we just keep procrastinating and keep putting
True.
it off. Well, I guess I have to take the most responsibility because I'm the one that's supposed to set this all up, and didn't happen all the
Yeah,
way
not
until
now,
now.
yeah.
But
I've been
but
off from social media
anyway,
for quite some time also.
it's happening today, and yeah. So solo traveling. I remember it was this one day last year, right? Then that Hanyan suddenly texted our friend
In a group chat.
friendship group, yeah, about what I booked myself a flight ticket to Taiwan, and it's a
Right,
solo trip. We were like, wow, yeah. Would
right.
you like
I
to
think before we get
go
into that, I
more into it?
have been talking about this, right? Like saying that I wanted to
Mm,
go for a solo trip for the longest time also, I think for a few years as well. But I just didn't dare to make it happen. Yeah.
Mm.
So just last year something just click. Yeah. And I just make a very impromptu decision.
What's a something?
Okay, honestly, last year I'm going through quite a um I wouldn't say it's the hardest moment ever, but I just feel like I don't have a very high energy for almost more than half a year. I've been super low in energy, lack of motivation. I just like curious what can I do other than just working. I've been a workaholic for quite a few years from starting as a student and until I started to take up part-time jobs, and after I take full-time I still take part-time also. So there was a moment that I started to get super lost that is it just like is working consider the only thing in my life, and I started to get like super depressed, super yeah, I just don't know. I just feel like I needed to find a motivation again. So that's why I started to talk to some of my friends, and they're just like saying maybe I could try on hobbies. And there was just one day that I was talking to one of my close friends as well. He was like saying, I just booked a ticket to Taiwan end of the year, and the ticket is like so cheap. It's almost the same price that you can go to Sabah or like go to Bali or what. But
Mm,
yeah, as everyone know, Taiwan, like we are Chinese, right? So the culture there, the language that they use and
mm,
everything, it's very familiar. You wouldn't be so afraid to actually go for a solo travel
mm,
just by yourself. So that's why I thought, okay, I needed a break. Somehow I have the money to actually support me to go for a travel solo trip. Yeah, maybe just a small portion for my savings. So I thought, hey, why not? I just go for it and not to really think about the consequences or like whatever would be happening later, but I just go for it first, and I will just explore the the good stuff along the journey. So that's why that I'm I think that just one night I couldn't sleep, insomnia. I just bought a flight ticket. I went to share with all my friends, and the next day I took a half day leave just to sort out my itinerary. And the next
mm,
month, that's why that I went on my journey. Yeah, it's a very
mm.
impromptu decision lah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sounds amazing. Like you actually made the active decision that you are going to do this. Like unlike me, um, I mean, we've been talking about it. Like I remember we started having this kind of conversation around solo traveling. Like, would we want to do one when we were in secondary school? But I
Yes.
can't remember what's your answer. But that time for me, it's never my thing because for me, I feel like if I'm going um, for vacation or something, I'd rather have someone to talk to share the experiences with. Yeah. So for me, the recent solo trips that I did, um, I'm more forced to because of life changes, but ended up I actually enjoyed it surprisingly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like one thing that always happen within all of us is that we are always feared of taking the first step.
Mm,
It's just something that keep um playing in your mind, telling you that it's very dangerous. You shouldn't go for it. Maybe it's not the right time. You just shouldn't. But that time I was asking myself, if not now, when? If
yeah.
I will be keep saying that it's very dangerous, but no matter where I go, no matter like right now I'm going to the shopping mall, I was like
Mm,
walking on the street. Isn't it dangerous? If something is meant to happen, it will happen.
mm,
Yeah. So yeah, I just feel like if you really wanted to try out something, instead of keep asking yourself whether or not you're ready, but just step out for the very first little step, and eventually you kind of like make yourself prepare for it.
yeah.
I think just like you did, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I've been talking about wanting to pick up tennis for the longest time ever, and I finally went to the tennis trial class yesterday and I subscribed to it. So I'm going for
Ooh,
lessons. Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow is my first lesson.
lessons. Okay. I
Lessons, yeah.
hear you say
Coaching lessons.
lessons. Okay, I see. That's good. Yeah,
Yeah, so
but I feel like
the
something that I
taking the
can
first step is always
probably
the hardest thing.
yes, but I feel like probably I can kind of like add on is that from our background, we are kind of
Mm,
like the very what is that term called? Very guai, very uh
Obedient.
it's like, yeah, you wouldn't dare to like do something because maybe your parents or
Mm,
like people around you telling you not to. So you kind of like
mm,
too reserved of yourself.
mm,
Yeah, so probably with that personality, for us to really start on the first step, it requires a lot of courageous. But just
yeah.
as you, yeah, step towards it, right, eventually you find the joy in trying out more new stuff.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I guess it's normal, like when you decided that you want to do something, there's a lot of voices back in your mind telling you like, what if, for example, like what if you don't have enough money? What if it's too expensive? What if there's this and that happening? But you know what? You never know until it happens. And if it really happens, believe in yourself that you definitely um is able to go. I mean, if are able to
yeah,
sort it out by that time.
yeah. Actually, financial also a very like it's a very serious topic for me also because
Mm,
uh after I graduated, when I mean even when I started to do part time, right, I started to be able to save money by myself,
mm,
without getting the money from my parents. Um, I used to keep having this mindset thinking that I shouldn't be spending money. I should be
mm,
very conscious in spending every little cents in terms of buying things that I really wanted, in terms of trying things that I really wanted also. So that there is a super long period that I dare not to spend. Yeah, so
mm,
even to go for a like the shop trip in Malaysia, right, or even to spend for like the food, I will keep thinking if I deserve it. Yeah,
mm,
but after that period when I mentioned, I kind of like have a quite a depressed moment in my life, and that's why that I think, hey, if this small portion of money, it wouldn't really affect my entire life, it wouldn't really affect my financial goal, do I really still want to, you know, be so harsh of myself?
mm,
Is it really okay for me to just spend it and I can have another motivation to earn the money again? Yeah, I think that's where that I decided to go for solo trip as well. Part of my reasons are, yeah.
mm. Yeah, you just reminded me like that day I was talking to our close friend, Xingfei. She was saying like, uh, saving money is almost a kind of uh, difficult, impossible if you want to save a lump sum of money. So the motivation for her is always to earn more instead of save more.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a mindset lah. Yeah.
yeah,
But also maybe,
yeah.
how would you like to choose your life, your goal? If you
Mm,
really wanted to, you think that money is very important for you, no doubt you should just go with
mm,
whatever that you have just decided. But if you really feel like you are quite stressed out, you needed a break, so why not? Yeah, there's no
yeah.
wrong in self-love. Yeah,
Mm.
spending on yourself
As long as
specifically.
that is still within what you have.
Your budget, so
Be
called.
realistic. Be realistic at the same time.
Right.
Okay, so um, how was your first solo trip like actually? Like the whole experience itself.
Mm, I would say it's really great, but mainly because how I like myself stepping out of my comfort zone. Because I think you guys knowing me for the longest time, right?
Mm,
Probably know that I'm one of the most introverted person ever. I can socialize at work, for work or like if it's needed, but I wouldn't dare to connect with people and share about myself. So that time, I kind of like telling me that, yeah, maybe I should give me a different kind of personality during that trip itself. So nobody know me. I can just do whatever that I want. I can just try anything that I wanted to try. So I use that unique personality to support me in that trip. So that kind of like opened my mind a little bit, and yeah, I get to try a lot of things. Yeah. So that is my
mm,
biggest lesson ever. Sometimes you are just so cautious about how the other people would actually think about you. But sometimes if you just put that back of your mind, just leave it back and just try it with a very brand new mindset, brand new personality. I feel like yeah, things could be different.
Yeah, when you're talking about like being introvert, like yeah, I am definitely
Right.
an introvert, yeah, as well. But surprisingly, I did manage to socialize on my own when I
During the
was
trip.
on, yeah, both the solo trip that I've done so far, and I noticed a slight difference in myself now. Like I remember a few days ago when I went bouldering. Usually, when I was doing bouldering, I don't actively talk to people. Like I don't mind people talking to me. I'll answer you and continue the conversation, but I don't initiate the conversation myself. But
Right.
that day, I don't know what happened. There's this person beside me, and he seems to be looking at what I'm doing. Yeah, probably we are doing the same climbs, and so he kind of looked at what I was doing, and then when he did one that I couldn't do it, then I initiated the conversation with him, and we got along quite well. Yeah, and he even continued teaching me for some techniques and skills here and there
Right.
afterwards. So I I was like, wait, like I mean, after the whole thing, when I was coming back, I was like, wait, that's not what I'm usually is. I mean, yeah, I'm not usually this kind of person. So that kind of surprised me. I guess this one of the thing that I get out of solo trip itself.
But correct me if I'm wrong, it just happened very so naturally, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I feel like that's actually a beauty of it. Because I realized also that time, okay, usually I'm the kind of person if I couldn't if I met like a tough situations, right, I would just find a solution by myself. I wouldn't be asking people for that. So among my friends, I'm kind of like the person who like I don't know what's the term, but it's tough for me to figure the routes of like where to go, like the ways and which direction it is, which bus number is it. So I'm kind of like really bad at this. But that time, I just don't know what happened. Probably that day I was like super tired and I was sick also, and I just took my courages and went to ask the people around me, hey, do you know how can I get to this road? And I've waited for 2 hours for this bus, but it just haven't arrived. So I just wonder what's happening. Is it because of the traffic, blah, blah. And the sister was just nice that brought me to the bus station and then brought me to the train station
Mm,
and just yeah share with me about after this, after you get down from that another station, you need to walk da 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 da, or like he just shared with me some tips. Then she was like saying the people, the Taiwanese, right, is super friendly. So if you ever need you need to seek help or you are in trouble, just feel free to just ask. Yeah, and that kind of like made me feel like, oh, actually a culture difference, right, would really um really make you feel warm. Yeah, it kind of
mm,
like boosts your courageous also.
yeah,
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So I
Yeah, speaking of,
believe that guy is really nice, which give you the similar frequency and vibes, and yeah, it just
mm,
happens so naturally. Yeah.
yeah, and speaking of that, I one thing that comes to my mind is I think the culture and the environment that we grow up in, um, like parents and elders always told us like we have to be careful. There's a lot of bad people out there, and don't trust people easily and stuff like this. Um,
Yes.
but I don't blame them because in certain countries, definitely there are
Yes.
a lot more happening in terms
Yes.
of all this negative stuff. But it doesn't mean it's applicable in every single places that you're going to. But of course, be cautious is always a thing that you should do. But apart from that, it is actually all right to trust people.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I may share a secret, actually, when I decided to go for that solo trip, I never tell my parents. I never tell my relative. So after that, when I am required to share with them, oh, next month, Dada, which date I'll be going I'll be going to Taiwan. What I did share with them is that I'm going there to meet a friend. Which friend? Don't know. Someone who studied in Taiwan, but I didn't share the specific details and all. So, in their mindset, they thought I'm not going alone, probably just by the flight. it's alone. Whenever I touch down, someone would be there to just pick me up and have the remaining vacations with me. But apparently it's not. So to be honest, this is not a good thing. But I feel like it's probably a good thing for me to uh, calm my parents, because to them,
Mm.
going for a solo trip, especially for girls, right, it's something really dangerous. They wouldn't want their daughter to get into it. But to me,
Yeah.
it's something. It is really my dream. So if this kind of if something like this could actually calm them down, I'll just do it.
Yeah,
But
you
also,
reminded me.
mhm,
You can continue.
yeah, no, I'm just wanted to adding that like choosing the vacation where you wanted to go is also your responsibility. If you really wanted to protect yourself, do your own research before you get into the like choosing which countries it is, or planning your itinerary very cautiously. Yeah, because for
Mm.
me, I wouldn't dare to go to countries like Paris by myself, because that is like known for robbery cases, right? Yeah, so I think in terms of choosing the vacations, like the locations, is relatively important. Yeah, back to you.
Yeah. When you're talking about trying to hide it from your parents and relatives, you reminded me of one of my ex housemates. she she actually did the same. She was going to Paris that time, and so she didn't tell her parents. She just told them like because she's calling her parents every single day, and so she told them like, oh yeah, I can't be doing that for the week because I had a conference to attend or something like this, and so uh but she was actually in Paris, and then she posted everything on Instagram, but she limited it only to close friends,
Oh,
and she only revealed it to the parents after she come back. And her mom was angry with her for a week. Doesn't
understand.
want to talk to her.
Actually, it's a culture. I wouldn't say it's an
Yeah.
issue, but it's a culture itself. Asian parents, they are
Mm.
just too protective of their children. Yeah, not
Yeah.
to blame, but in a way for
Mm.
us to grow, it's sort of limited the opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you talk about Paris, like I just came back 2 weeks ago. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, before I went to Paris, I was a little worried as well because people have been talking about like how dangerous it could be, or how yeah, pickpocketing can be happening and stuff. And when you're alone, things just get even easier because you can't juggle everything at the same time when there's a lot
Right.
happening around you. Yeah,
Right.
so I was a little worried, but surprisingly, the whole experience is very good. As in, I didn't face any problems, and the people that I met was nice too. Unlike oh yeah, because people always say like mm, people maybe in Paris or any parts of France isn't that nice because they hold their identity, their French identity very very strong. Yeah, so but when I was there, everything was alright. But I'm not sure. Maybe it's because of Olympics, and so there's more control and stuff from the government because there's literally policemen everywhere. Yeah,
To be
so
honest, that time
everything.
when you were telling us that you are going to Paris alone, right? I was like,
Mm,
wow, wow. They were just too amazed to know that.
yeah, another friend actually told me after she realized that I went solo traveling in Paris. She was like, "Wow, you're really cool. I wish I could do that." I was like, "Yeah, actually, that sounds really cool," and I did it. Yeah, but one thing that I don't particularly enjoy during solo trip is the food. As in,
Okay,
not not the food isn't nice. The problem is our we can't
nobody
really eat
there
that
to
much.
share the food with you, right?
Yes,
It's
and
totally relatable for me also.
I can only limited myself to, I mean I can only limit myself to order that much.
Yes.
And so but there's so much of nice food that you should
Right.
try when you were there, and you're not there forever. You're there probably for just a few days, and in the blink of an eye the few
Understand.
days have gone and you're about to come back, but when you think about it, you've only tried like maybe two or three famous dishes,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I wish there's someone else that's there to share it with me.
It's quite pity, right?
Mm,
Yeah, but to me, I have another mindset. Yes, it's quite pity to me because Taiwan, usually when it comes to people's mind, right, it will remind people of the night market. But
mm,
I am not someone who is really a foodie, and to me, I
mm,
prefer to uh, have a chill trip instead
mm,
of keep walking here and there to
mm,
explore like the food, explore like the things. I just wanted to go with the flow. So that part, I keep remind myself to control it in a better way. Yeah. So knowing the purpose of your trip, right, it helps me to manage the expectation. Yes, food
mm,
maybe is quite a pity for the overall of the trip, but probably I get to enjoy other things. Let's say I get to explore the little things. Like for example, uh, there was one time that I'm going to the Jufen area where
mm,
the street itself, it's all about food, but I didn't buy much of it, but eventually I just keep walking and look at the sceneries, and until a moment I was because I saw, okay, uh that trip I actually choose I actually book a like a group tour from
mm.
Cook, KKD or Cook, I forgot. So we I went there with a bunch of people from a band, and I saw someone from the band. So we kind of like share the food together also.
Ah,
Yeah, so yeah, that makes me feel like, yeah, actually sometimes if you're able to share with people, maybe I mean if in a safe, if
mm,
in a safe, given a safe scenario, it's one good thing. And second thing, if food is really not your thing, right, you prefer to go for scenery, you can just grab a sandwiches and some juices and just walk on the go, right? I feel like, yeah, that served my trip, that served my vacation purpose also. So I
mm.
accepted it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good
Probably,
mindset to have.
yeah. So next time, maybe when you go to another solo trip, yeah, stop thinking about the pity, but yeah, maybe it's good. It give you another reason for you to revisit the country another time, right?
True, true.
Yes.
Yeah, just now you did mention about some fears and concerns here and there. What do you think is the particular? I mean, were there any particular concerns or fears when you are planning the whole trip, especially as a
Mm,
girl? Because I believe, um, growing up in the Asian mindset, we are kind of restricted with a lot of those more conservative mindset and stuff.
I feel like people around me has been more uh worried than me
Mm,
myself actually. Yeah, because when I planned my itinerary, right, I told myself that because I'm going alone, I need to be responsible of myself and my loved ones. So uh, my itinerary kind of stops at 5 because
mm,
the season when I go to Taiwan, right, yeah, I think the day would kind of, the sunset it would be around 5:30. So
mm,
starting around 5 or 6, right, the entire street would be super dark. So it's not really safe for girls to travel alone. Yeah, so that's why I put my itinerary, like everything to stop at 5, and around 5 6 I'll just go back to home, and on the way if I see anything interesting I'll just like grab back to my hotel. Yeah, or there's one night that I just wanted to try a super famous hotpot because I'm a hotpot lover. So that night was super cold. It's kind of like raining also, and I decided to just get a taxi because instead
mm,
of walking 20 30 minutes home, which by the time I go home it will be nearly 9 10, and it might be dangerous, right? Because walking alone at the street. So that's why that I decided to spend money in my transportation instead. Yeah. So that's why if you were to ask me whether or not I have that fear, probably because I am quite well planned. Hence,
mm.
yeah, I wasn't feeling super scared of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do understand like the concern around safety because when I was planning my trip for Paris, I know accoms are definitely super expensive, especially during Olympic time. But I ended up still decided like I'd rather stay in the city because because my friends came back a bit earlier before I made my bookings, and so they did say like because of Olympics, the city is quite safe, and so
Mm,
I decided like I know it's going to be at, be more expensive, but since I'm doing this alone and I'm really unsure how safe Paris is yet,
yeah.
so I'd rather do it this way, and um, the accounts that I booked was quite close to a few different metro stations, which it's a
Mm-hmm.
good thing even if I come back a bit later. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't need to walk like very long in the dark to get back and stuff.
Yeah, I did that also, and um, I actually choose the youth hotel.
Mm,
Yeah, so I'm not so worried about the safety because a lot of the people who went there are backpackers, or maybe
mm,
they are young adults. So you wouldn't feel so shy. Yeah, and
yeah,
whenever you are like around that area, I already see like it's quite because youth hotels are usually located at convenient places.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that could be one of the tips for people out
Mm,
there who wanted to
sure.
do their first solo trip. Yep.
How's the whole youth hostel experience for you?
No, it's just like a normal hostel actually.
Ah, just
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
share the same
So
space with different people.
correct. Even the same room, but
Mm-hmm.
different beds. Yeah. Some
Mm-hmm.
probably is like just side by side, but some is like double. What's it called? Double
Bunk
decker.
bed.
Yeah. It's like the double
Mm-hmm.
up and down. Yeah.
Would you be worried about like if let's say you left your stuff in the room while
Okay.
you go out?
So
Yeah.
it's very good to make your own research. The hotel that I choose, right? They have their own locker for each bed. So
Ah.
you get to keep either the key or it's either the password key.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So that kind of like made me feel safe because I brought along my iPad. Yeah. So if
Mm-mm.
the day I didn't want to bring like very heavy items, right, I will just lock it inside my lockers. Yeah.
Mm.
And another thing could also be um you can get to choose either mixed gender room or
Oh
it's
yeah.
either just all girls room. Some of the
Mm.
hostel give that option, but not all.
Mm.
So if that's really your concern, right, probably yeah, you can also search out for hotel that give you such options, and that gives me much more yeah confidence.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like a very good tip to look
Yeah,
into.
actually, I like youth hostel because their facilities is really good. I wouldn't
Mm.
want to compare it to five-star hotel or three-star
Yeah.
hotels, but just at least compare it to an Airbnb.
Mm.
It's quite interesting because they have like cafe, they have like maybe some mini bar, they have also a common area for people to read, for people to do work. Yeah, and the sceneries
Mm.
is also quite nice for the one that I went. Yeah, so I feel like it's overall a very interesting experience. I even get to meet people from like another countries. I have a Thailand
Yeah.
friends, yeah, and I met another China girl who went to Australia for studies, and we just ended up being like a 1 day trip friend, something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's
That's
good
really
lah if you
nice.
wanted to make friends. Yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think solo traveling did allow you to make new friends
Yes.
and keep those kind of friends that you can actually keep in touch afterwards.
Oh yes, and I really did connect with that friend from time to time. Yeah,
Mm,
like reply stories or like yeah just catch up. Hey, how are you lately? Okay, it just feels good lah.
yeah. So, what advice would you give to another girl or women that who are hesitant about traveling alone?
I think firstly choosing a location would be something that you really need to consider. Yeah. Um, like say if you wanted to go to a like let's say I'm like referring to Chinese. So if language is one of your barrier, probably for your first solo trip, instead of pushing yourself all out and go to a like a European countries or like maybe
Mm,
countries that even not even speaking English, right? So probably you
mm,
can just start easily from going let's say China or Taiwan, places like this.
mm,
Yeah, I think another thing also, a lot of concerns of people, like a lot of my friends, right, that have been very concerned about me when I said I wanted to go solo trip, because of the hidden cameras and um,
ah,
maybe if you're working if you're working alone at night, right, what may potentially happen. So like
mm,
some unfortunate things like this, how you can actually protect yourself is by buying some scanner to know whether or not is there any hidden camera at your room,
mm,
or by buying some precautious items, yeah, to keep you safe, some spray or like something sharp to help you to protect yourself. Yeah, I think stuff like this is things that you really need to consider. You
mm,
never know, one day these unfortunate things may happen, so just to protect yourself. Yeah, and I think plan your itinerary really well. You need to know your um, objective of the trip. Yeah, if really you are allocating 5 days trip, right, it's better not to push all the itineraries just within that 5 days. Probably you can go for the much more chill and easy trip. Yeah, so you get to rest a little bit. But if you're really someone that wanted to go all out, make sure that your health, your safety is allowing you to do so. If not, yeah, be responsible of yourself and mm,
mhm. Yeah, I remember when I was doing my Paris trip, I know I wouldn't want a super packed itinerary, so I list down a few things that I'll probably check out on that day, and I'll leave it to that day itself and see how I feel if I want to do them all, or I'll
I
rather just do
understand.
a few. Yeah.
Actually, also something I saw when I was doing my own research, right? I saw a lot of people sharing their experiences, and they did mention that yeah, I managed to do my Taiwan trip in just 2K in 5 days.
Mm,
Yeah, so that kind of catch people attention. Oh, how do you able to do that, and da 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 da. But when I read through it, I was questioning myself whether I am able to fulfill that. But my answer is obviously not.
mm,
So that's why I wouldn't push myself to go with that just to save that
mm,
500 or 1K, right? Yeah, it seems a lot to be honest, but if you're putting it at the long run, or let's say if really something unfortunate happened, you have to go to hospital at overseas,
mm,
that costs you even more. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I do know some of my friends here, they prefer doing like budget travels, but they travel to a lot of places in a year, so they prefer doing it more at budget and and so what one thing that they do, but they usually travel in a group, so it's easier to do that. So they will
Yes. They can
find
share costs
an
also.
Airbnb, yeah, find an Airbnb and they cook themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be a thing that you could consider if that's something that you want to do. Yeah,
Yeah, but solo
obviously
trip is a
buying
bit
from,
tough lah.
yeah, but
Yeah, if
if
you're
let's say
referring
you
that.
do have a shared kitchen and you are staying at the same place for a few days and you really really want to save cost,
Yeah.
obviously buying it from supermarket and do it yourself, probably it's
Yeah.
still slightly cheaper, but do you really enjoyed it is another thing that you would want to think about. There's no right or wrong in doing it, just that
Yes.
what you really want to get out of it.
Oh, I actually have a question to myself that time. I was asking the difference between solo trip and also a backpacker.
Mm,
Yeah, so to me, if today I'm mentioning that I'm going for a backpacker trip, that maybe sounds like a more adventurous journey. But today, if I just wanted to go for a solo trip, I just wanted to relax, to unwind a little bit, probably, yeah, I can just spend a little more on the stay to get a more like greater scenery view kind of like places. Yeah, I feel like that could happen.
That sounds like a good thing to think about. I've never thought of it.
Yeah, because I didn't want to just be so, not to say harsh, but limiting myself
Mm,
to a specific definition.
mm,
Yeah, I feel like if this is my trip, if this is my life, I get a full control of it. So why not I just do things that I want? I think that's is my definition to solo trip. Yeah,
mm.
I don't know. You can share yours. Yeah,
Um, I yeah, I do agree on that. The part like backpacking trips are usually more adventurous in my opinion. Um, and solo trip can be, you can do a very budget one, or you can do the all out and a
yes,
very luxurious one,
yeah.
depending
You
on
get to
what
choose.
you want and what's your budget.
True.
If you're rich enough, you can do anything you want.
Even if you're not rich, but you wanted to do, you if you have the money, you can still do.
True, true, true. So since we are talking about budgeting, how do you manage your finances on the road?
Mm, I have a tracker for every
Mm,
single cent that I spend. I actually jot it down, but
mm, mm,
that just kind of like give me a rough like how much do I spend for that few days.
mm,
However, I give myself like a
mm,
max that I can go about instead of I think the max they're still quite flexible, so I get to still allocate some budget and like transportation like taxi or maybe I can still go for a more luxury food. I can still get to
mm,
buy some souvenirs. That kind of like flexibility. So from there, yeah, I kind of like backtrack planning it. So today, I actually
mm,
spend this much, and I have like a few more days, right? So probably I just need to be a little bit cautious on, yeah, the remaining things. That is how I plan for it.
mm. Yeah, for me, like I did it quite similar as well. Like before I go, obviously I've already paid for my comms and my flights or my train tickets to my destination, and
Yeah,
so I
same.
can um I can I mean I already know how much it costs, and I know how the utmost threshold for myself, like how much is the
Yeah,
max that I can spend,
yeah,
and so I then divide the remaining into a few days and see what's the really max amount of money that I could use on anything that I want throughout the few days. And so, but it always end up having still having some extra, which
yes,
and end up making you feel a bit good because you feel like,
yes,
yeah, actually I haven't been spending that much.
yes. And I don't know, maybe because of my personality, if I kind of put the target, um, like say if the minimum, with the maximum, I kind of like put it a little bit lower, right? If I am almost overspending it, I will be quite harsh of myself. I'll be saying like, "Hey, why would you like spend so much on it? Or do you still want to eat this expensive food or what?" I didn't want that to happen, and that remind me of this one day because I was mentioning that I was sick, right, and I actually hurt my knee, so it's quite hard for me to walk. So what I did is I didn't brought any medicine. I had to just go to the pharmacy and get some medicine to just apply on my um leg. And I ran out of my cold fever as well. And I was keep coughing. And that time COVID was quite serious. I tested. I know that I'm not having COVID, but yeah, just to make me myself feel better, I spent on some medication costs also. So if you really be very cautious about the budget, right? That moment you might be telling yourself, hey, why did I forsake? Hey, why did I need to buy those medicines? Yeah, I feel like I didn't want that to happen. I just want to, yeah, just treat myself a little bit better, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to think about before. I mean, when you're planning how much budget that you are willing to allocate for the whole trip itself,
I believe this is
like how
something
much
that I
the
call
extra.
emergency funds also.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I just allocate some emergency funds in my travel expenses also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Like most of us probably have emergency fund for our daily life, but traveling we probably never really think about it. But sometimes
Yeah.
shit just happen out of nowhere.
Yes. If probably you are someone that just bring cash, you didn't have your credit card like
Mm.
along you, right? So yeah, what if it really happens and you wouldn't have enough to cover all that? That would be, yeah, much sad,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. So, mm, how many days did you went to Taiwan that time?
I think 8 days, 7 nights.
Ah, so
Yeah,
throughout
eight
the
days, 7 nights.
more than a week um thing, have you ever experienced any loneliness while traveling solo?
Yes. It was that moment. I wouldn't specify which moment is it. It could be a lot of moment, but it's just that time that you feel like you see something nice, you see something interesting, and you wanted to share with somebody. Yeah, you just couldn't. Probably the only thing that you can do is to just send it to your friends and post it on your social media, but it's another different thing.
Mm,
Yeah, it's not like you can discuss it and just talk to your friends and the conversation actually started. It's not that kind of like, yeah, moment. Yeah, but I wouldn't
mm,
say it's a give and take. Yeah, because if I go to solo trip, that means to me that's mean I needed the um
me time.
quietness, me time. Yeah, so
Then during that moment itself, how do you cope with it? Or you just
mm,
let it sit with you and let it go?
I okay, if I'm really lonely, if I'm really sad, I let's say if I really wanted to cry, I cry. If I really feel like, hey, I'm not in a good mood, not in the right situation, I would just ask myself to go out. So instead of
Mm,
you sitting in a very tiny little room, whatever, you actually go out. You get to enjoy the vibes out there. Yeah, I think one experience that really touches me is the first night that I landed. Um, that time when I finally checked in my hotel, right, I was so stressed by getting lost of the direction, firstly, and then
mm,
secondly, I was hungry, but I have no appetite to eat. I don't know if I wanted to just go alone. And then I also like have been stressing about my work because when I just landed, right, a lot of message is already started spamming and
oh,
your teammates will be asking you, oh, like this and that. You have to catch up on things. So there's just one moment that I question if, hey, why did I wanted to come for a solo trip when I need to go through so many shits, right? So uh, I stay in the room for because that night I took a single room. Yeah, so I felt very packed inside. It's very stressed out and I decided to get down. Fortunately, just outside, just downstairs of the hostel itself, there is a big park, and there are some people jogging. There are also people petting
mm,
their pets. There are also some live bands, and people just sit down and listen to them singing. There are quite a few bands actually, and eventually, I just brought some food and beers. I just sat at the corner and enjoying myself. I was like calling my friends and I cried. But after that, because you release your emotion and because you
mm,
didn't put yourself in the very lonely situation as well, I felt much better right after. And people
mm,
around, right, they see me sitting lonely, they saw me cry and like talking over the phone. They thought something happened to me also. So I remember like a magician came to me and say like, let me show you some more magic. And he just showed me like three tricks. And there's also another guy who brought the dog. I think we were just like chilling at night, and the dog kept coming to me because probably I have the food. So ended up that guy also like talking to me. Hey, are you okay? If you need to talk, you can like just shout at me. Yeah, we can just play with my dog or what. So that moment, yeah, it makes me feel really good. I think it's this kind of human interaction that would pull you out
Yeah.
from the negative energy. Yeah, so if you really felt like you're lonely, if you really couldn't take it, right, yeah, it's better for you to step off of it. Yeah.
Mm,
Or if you're really scared of like standing in a crowd, right, probably you can just find a corner at the park, right? It
mm,
still serve you a purpose. Yeah,
yeah. And then getting the fresh air for a bit really helps sometimes.
correct. Yes.
Yeah, I actually didn't expect that to happen to me because my trip isn't that long. It's just a 4 day 3 night trip to Paris, and
Mm-hmm.
so but then I remember it was on my third day. Actually, the whole day has been amazing. I don't know, is it
Mm-hmm.
because I've been really tired because I've been doing a lot that day, and so towards the evening, I remember I was in the museum surrounded by a lot of people. But that moment, that sudden moment, suddenly I feel like crying. I don't know
Oh.
why. Yeah, I feel very, very tired and feel like crying, but I was telling myself, not here. People are walking here and there, and people are just around me. Yeah, I was like, not here. Then after I managed to calm myself down for a bit, then I feel like, yeah, I feel like I want to talk to someone. Well, I did make a Malaysian friend when I was in France, and so I
Oh.
did text him and ask him if he's free. Yeah, just so if he happens to be free, yeah, why not? Like, we can just go for a meal and talk things out. I don't even know
Mm-hmm.
what I was. I wanted to talk actually, but I just feel like I wanted to talk to someone. But
Mm-hmm.
it happened that he already had some plans and he came all the way there to visit his friend. I'd rather not disturb them. Then I was like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. Then I was like thinking, what should I do now? It's still a little early for dinner. Then I decided, okay, you know what? I'll continue strolling around the museum for a little bit more, and then I slowly walked towards the restaurant. I had my dinner, and afterwards, I spent some time walking in the city because I was feeling really, really full, and I don't really have much planned for that night because I feel like I should get some rest to get prepared for the next day because I'm leaving the next day quite early as well. So I was walking around. Um, mm, the vibe outside was quite good, but I just don't mm, feel like I'm connected to it yet. So when I was about to reach my accoms, I was like, wait, why not I just go to that ice cream shop? So I went,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so actually for the ice cream shop, if I chose a cup instead of a cone, it would be a lot easier because Paris was really hot that time. But that time I just feel like, you know what, I I want to be a bit rebellious and I want the rose shape of the ice cream that they put on the cone instead of the cup. Then I'm like, okay, I'll just get the cone. Then after getting a cone, then that means I have to eat it quickly or else it just melt. Then I was
Yeah.
standing outside eating. I didn't expect this to happen, but suddenly a couple came to me. I was like, what? I was standing there eating my ice cream. They were like, if you don't mind, can I ask where are you from? I was like,
Hmm.
Malaysia? Then they were like, Malaysia. That was deep back in my mind. I was like, yeah, Malaysia. Then, but why? So
What happened to
they were
Malaysia?
actually, yeah, they're actually complimenting me, saying like, I look cute, I look hot. I was like, oh, okay. But that was a little awkward because I didn't know how to react to and manage compliments. That's a moment I
Mm-hmm.
realized actually I don't really know how to manage compliments. But they
Mm-hmm.
were really really nice. They stood there, talked to me for a little while, and afterwards when they passed by for a few times, they still come back to me and talk to me. So that experience itself actually made my day afterwards. I felt really good, as in, I mean, the human interaction itself makes me feel good.
Understand? Actually, I have another lesson for that solo trip as it makes me understand myself a little bit further.
Mm,
I get to talk to the inner self. I get to realize
Mhm.
what do I really want and what do I really like. Maybe some of those questions until today I wouldn't have a solid answers, but if it's not that solo trip itself, I wouldn't even think about it. I
Mm.
wouldn't even had the chance to figure, to start thinking. Yeah, so I feel like maybe sometimes whether if this kind of like little, whether we say it's loneliness, whether we say it's something unfortunate or like something big that really happened, is it really a bad thing? But to me, it's probably your experience. It's probably,
Mm.
yeah, one of the interesting things that you may add into your uh vacation, or it may add into your life. Yeah, I just feel like I wanted myself to see it that way. Trip could be sad, trip could be busy, trip could be sometimes not as happy as what we have planned, but because you're already at the trip, why would you keep thinking all the bad things, right? You should just step out of it and start thinking about the little happiness, or like little things inside it that can add some value into your trip. I feel like
Yeah, be in that
eventually,
moment.
correct, yeah, eventually throughout those moments, it helps you to think a little bit further, which is usually something that you wouldn't do during your daily life because you're just too busy with your work. You're just too busy to think about solutions, and you never start thinking of like something new. That's why I like. That's why I started to like traveling, and I started liking solo trip. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I do agree on what you said. Another thing that I think I learned out of it is realizing and appreciating something about myself. Like maybe it's just something small, but you've never really appreciated that for yourself. Yeah, you have always just take it for granted for yourself. I mean, sometimes we say it's bad to take it for granted for others, but what
Mm-hmm.
about ourselves?
Right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you yourself is the most important
Mm-hmm.
person in your world, in your reality. But most of the time, we just overlooked it, and yeah,
To
spend
me, I
having that
always
me
say,
time, spending it to ourselves, really open up that experience and learn about
mm-hmm.
ourselves a bit more too.
Yeah, no, I mean, just now I just wanted to say, like, to me, I always think travel is a luxury, not because of the money that you are going to spend, but it's a luxury because a lot of us, we can't really squeeze out the time from your busy schedule and just make it for the trip. But if you were to, if you're already spending the money, spending the time, why not just fully enjoy it?
Mm, true.
Yeah, and yeah, I just didn't want our busy life is already stuck with, work, with a lot of like, family, your personal, your
Mm,
relationship. There's so many things going on, but what about yourself? What
mm,
about something that just for yourself?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, I guess that's the main thing and main idea for a solo traveling. Then, as in putting everything there just for yourself. Oh, is there anything that you like to add on in terms of like solo traveling?
Not really for me.
All right, if let's say the audience would like to connect with you, and where would be the best place to do so?
Okay, you can check out Instagram, H
Okay,
H
I'll
A
I'll
N
list it
Y E
out
N
down.
999. Okay.
All right. Mm, thank you very much for joining me today. We finally made it happen and done it. Get it done.
Right. And I look forward for another episode with Simpe as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god,
All right.
it's really
Thank you.
like a
Mm,
super long overdue
exactly.
things. Yeah. Okay. Let's catch up.
All right. Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to comment what your thoughts are about down below. I mean below. Yeah. And feel free to subscribe. Um, share it with your friends and family who like to have the 2 cents of us. Okay, I'll see you guys next week then. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed it, do like and share it with your friends and family and drop me a comment on YouTube. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a review. If you're on Spotify, please rate my show. Alternatively, any questions or feedback, feel free to email me at hello@inkthoughts.com or send me a private message on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter with the username of inkthoughtspod. Thanks again and catch you all next week.